You are listening to the Metro South Morning Show on the new WXBR 1460.
AM 1460, the new WXBR. You were listening to the Metro South Morning Show, PM in the AM. Peter Zimbor and Mike Pava here with you on this Tuesday morning. EnterpriseNews.com currently is reporting it's 10 degrees outside. Have we lost a degree, or is that simply a different source of how cold it is?
I have 11 degrees, Pete.
I'll go with 11 so I feel a degree warmer.
11.8 to be exact.
You going from weather.com?
I've got my own little sources. I've got Allie's Weather giving me updates whenever I want.
In my years of using weather.com, I always noticed that it's slightly off. Dating back to when I worked for the Brockton Rockets, I wanted to see if it was going to be raining during game time or not.
11.7.
Well, that's neither here nor there. Did we just lose a tenth of a degree?
Yep.
We lost a tenth of a degree. Folks, it's Tuesday. It's the night after a city council meeting in the city of Brockton. As the case, each and every Tuesday after a Brockton City Council meeting, joining us in studio is the current Brockton City Council President, Mr. Robert Sullivan. Robert, good morning and welcome to the program once again. Thanks for being here.
Oh, my pleasure, Peter and Mike. It's cold out there, isn't it? But I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much. And we again had a really good meeting last night. Full city council, all 11 members were there last night. And three things right off the bat. We did 3 promotions within the fire department. A fire lieutenant was promoted, a captain was promoted, and a deputy fire chief, which is always a really fun event because the families come down and it's a special time. We did that at the beginning. And then one of the other things that we need to do every couple of years is to bring forward the reappointments of the school police that service here the city of Brockton schools, and that was read and referred to finance. So next week the individuals will come forward, and again you put a name with a face, and I would expect that to be no problem with a reappointment on that. But that was just to start the meeting, and again we had a lot of different grants appropriations last night where we could appropriate certain state grant funding that came in, and specifically to the Elder Affairs, to the Council on Aging, to the police. We did appropriate some money within the department for the police for overtime, about $155,000. And I'm happy to say two of the new councils, Councilor Azek and Councilor Barnes, last night filed some resolves, which is exciting because, as I said, we have a really good group of people. We have some talented people that are jumping in there, and Shirley and Shayna and Moses was there. He's back. He was on a 2-week stint to Cape Verde. So it was some good times last night, and I expect next Monday night at the Finance Committee, that's going to really be an extremely important meeting.
We'll talk a little bit about that. Last time we had you on the program was the day following the first City Council meeting of the calendar year 2014. It was the first City Council meeting held under the tenure of the new mayoral administration of Mayor Bill Carpenter. Safe to say that first City Council meeting was just a lot of formalities, whereas now, nearly a month into the new year, there are a lot more business to be tended to?
Yeah, I think that's 100% accurate. I mean, it's you roll up your sleeves now and you dig in, and the budget season's not too far away. So from a legislative purpose, from the city council's perspective, we're really kind of looking at and dissecting what the mayor's proposing. There are a lot of new proposals. Some will probably be successful, some maybe not so much, but ultimately, as I've said before, and I know my colleagues on the council feel this, we serve the people, the taxpayers that expect the services, but times are tough financially, so we're trying to look at some fiscal responsibility and cost containment measures, but I agree with that. I think that's 100%. The inaugural is over now, and now's the time to really dig in there and make sure that we're doing the people's work.
A big story that was in the newspaper over the weekend and that Mayor Bill Carpenter spoke about on our program yesterday was that reigning police chief Emmanuel Gomes was going to be removed from position of police chief and become a police captain. But because he still had a contract as a police chief, he was going to get paid as a police chief until such contract expires, which I believe was in 2015. And also, Mayor Bill Carpenter was going to propose that a new police commissioner position be created almost in place of Emmanuel Gomes' police chief position, whereas he's now being brought back down to captain. What went about with that last night at the city council meeting, as Mr. Carpenter told us that he would be bringing that in front of the council?
Yeah, first of all, I want to take the opportunity to thank Manny Gomes. He's a good man, a good leader. He's done some really wonderful things for the city of Brockton. He's worked for the police department for many, many years. From a personal standpoint, I'm a little disappointed. I would have thought that he would have been able to finish out his contract. Contract was negotiated in good faith, and he's the leader of the police department. But ultimately, the new administration wanted to go in a different direction, and Manny Gomes and the union agreed to that. So as of this Friday, Manny will no longer be the police chief for the city of Brockton. And you're right. The mayor has a proposal, and it was presented last night. The ordinance committee. So the ordinance was proposed, full city council. We read it and referred it as the council president. I referred it to ordinance committee, and it's a proposal that the mayor is hoping will be successful, where a civilian commissioner will be at the helm of the police department at a cost of $149,000 a year. And you know, quite honestly, I don't know. I have my own personal opinion on that, and I'm only one of 11, but I do know that the council is taking this serious, and that the ordinance committee chaired by Ward 3 Councilor Dennis Ianieri, he's already called an ordinance meeting, which is going to be Tuesday the 3rd of February at 6 o'clock at City Hall in the City Council chamber. So that's going to be really an opportunity where people that are pro or con can come in and really articulate their feelings one way or the other to the members of the ordinance committee. And then ultimately, Peter, as you know, once it comes out of ordinance, either favorable or unfavorable, it comes back to the full city council for a vote. So I think it's going to be a discussion, extremely important discussion, first of all. But I think you're going to see both sides very passionate. And I know Councilor Ianieri didn't want to shortchange it. That's why he did it on a Tuesday night, where we don't have anything scheduled. Usually it's an hour or so before finance on a Monday night. But it's something that is very unique and very different, and we'll just have to see how that plays out.
When we spoke with Mayor Bill Carpenter yesterday, and I'm trying to paraphrase him succinctly but accurately, he said that this is a public safety concern, which is why he is creating this position, and that public safety should override any financial concerns for this position. Is there any financial concerns with the creation of a new position that would cost $149,000 a year?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you don't put a price tag on health and safety. I've said that before. But with that being seen and said, you need to really look at the cost and what you're getting for the cost. So there's a financial cost for Manny Gomes going back to the captain. There's a financial cost that the mayor has decided to settle that agreement with the union. And again, he could do that. He's the mayor. He's the CEO of the city of Brockton, and we're the legislative body. But, you know, I think all these costs are adding up. And, you know, as a strong council form of government, a Form B type of government, we have an obligation to make sure that every cost and every dollar spent or proposed to be spent is justified. And I do think that, again, that's going to be a really worthy discussion. I myself, I'm getting concerned about some of these cost expenditures that are proposed. Again, some of them haven't come to fruition. Some of them may or may not. But I know that my colleagues and myself are treating every proposal for the mayor. He's the new mayor, you know, and we're taking everything serious. And we've had some discussions. I've had some good discussions with the mayor. But you know what? What ultimately is going to happen is there's going to be times where we can agree to disagree. Because at the end of the day, one person may feel that they're doing the right thing for the city of Brockton, and another may think he or she is doing the right thing, and they may conflict. But again, it's kind of early in the game. But again, I do want to say again, Police Chief Manny Gomes. I served with him as a member of the Traffic Commission, and he's a good man, and he did some wonderful things, coalition and collaboration with the state and the feds for public safety here in the city of Brockton. And again, the civilian commissioner is unique to the city of Brockton. There's no ordinance, no law right now that would call for that. It's called for a police chief, you know, manning the department. So, again, I think we're going to take it serious. And I know Councilor Ianieri, I spoke to him again last night after we left the meeting. He's anxious to get the ball rolling one way or the other.
So this police commissioner job does not exist simply without a vote from the city council. Am I correct?
That's correct, because again, the laws or the ordinances of the city of Brockton call currently for a police chief to head up the department. In essence, what this proposal would do is to delete that position, get rid of that position, while the civilian commissioner mans the department. So I know, you know, the mayor is very passionate about public safety, as all of us, you know, not just elected officials, everybody that lives here in the city. You know, we want a healthy and safe community. But I also think we have to man the store relative to finances, and we need to see best practice going forward. And it's going to be an interesting. I'll be there, and I encourage anybody that has any interest at all that wants to come and speak. It's a public hearing. You can come in and speak, or if you just want to come and kind of take in the scene, it's going to be again on Tuesday, February 3rd, 6 o'clock at the City Hall chamber at City Hall.
Now, I believe the day before it is effective that Police Chief Emmanuel Gomes becomes Police Captain Emmanuel Gomes. Who's in charge of the Brockton Police Department following his departure from being Chief to Captain, and what happens if the City Council does not allow this ordinance to pass where a police commissioner job is created?
That's a great question, and it hasn't been answered yet. We don't know. This Friday at close of business, City Hall closes at 4:30, and I've spoke to Manny Gomes many times. He's in essence going back to his original position of captain before he was promoted to chief by Mayor Belzotti. So he will no longer, after Friday, be the police chief. And the council, I can speak for the council as a whole, we don't know yet what the mayor wants to do. We do know it's going to take quite some time to vet out the process on ordinance. It's not something that happens overnight. There's a whole legal process and procedure that must happen. The first step happened last night. It was read and referred to ordinance, and then it's going to be vetted out at ordinance. But to pass any type of ordinance in the city of Brockton calls for 3 readings. So last night was the 3rd reading, first reading. So even when it does come out of the committee, either favorable or unfavorable, there has to be a couple more weeks in there legally. So I don't know. You'd have to ask the mayor right now. I know he's coming forward next Monday night to finance. Because one of the positions that was referred back to finance last night was a proposal to add personnel in the solicitor's office, the attorney's office. So the mayor is coming to try to justify that. So I think there's going to be quite some questions, and of course on the 3rd he'll be there. He's explained to me he will be there, and he'll try to state his case. But I agree with you, Peter. I don't know. It's the unknown. Who's manning the ship right now when Manny Gomes leaves? I don't know if there's going to be a temporary or an interim named. Again, it's kind of the unknown right now, and it's a little concerning.
You have your finger on the pulse of the City Council, being the City Council President. Do you think it will pass ultimately?
I think it's going to be a very close vote, is my humble opinion. Again, I think there's going to be some people there that are going to say absolutely not. We've had a really good history of a strong police department with a police chief, and why change it now? Where there other people, thought process may be, well, let's try it. Change is good. We could try it for a year. We could always change it back. But, I've always, I've been on the council since my 9th year now. I've always found it difficult once an ordinance is on the books to change it. It's very infrequently that would even happen. So do I feel it's going to pass? I think it's going to be a close vote. It could go either way. But then again, I thought the Patriots were going to kill Denver last week. So what do I know?
They did win the regular season game.
That's correct. That's correct.
Once again, we're chatting with Robert Sullivan, City Council President here on AM 1460, the new WXBR. Has it been disclosed to the City Council who this police commissioner is proposed to be?
Yes, well, there's a gentleman that campaigned as mayor candidate, Bill Carpenter, a guy named Bob Hayden. And Bob, well respected in the law enforcement community. He was a superintendent in Boston Police, and he was chief of Lawrence, and his name has been out there, and I surmise that he would be the candidate that the mayor is looking to bring forward. But again, ultimately, I'm just on the city council as a legislative advocate for the citizens, and again, the mayor would need to disclose that. But that was my impression. Again, things can change, but ultimately, I know that the mayor is really, interested in changing the format and having a civilian commissioner. In place. So again, I know the ball's rolling. February 3rd is going to be the discussion. It's going to be a long night, and it should be a long night because it's a drastic change. But again, we'll have to see how it plays out.
And Bob Hayden's name has come up a multitude of times, as you mentioned. I did not know if it was definitive that it was stated that he would be the.
Well, I think that's something you should really ask Mayor Carpenter. But I know his name's been out there, and he was a really impressive speaker during the campaign cycle from a law enforcement standpoint. But again, as I stated in the press, I'm very disappointed that Manny Gomes will no longer be the chief.
Any thoughts on Bob Hayden? Just from
I've only met the gentleman twice in my life. One was about a 2-second meeting at the one of the Brockton high rises during the candidates forum. And then I had an opportunity to meet him right after the mayor was elected. Seems like a really nice person. Grew up in Dorchester, lives in Hingham. He served the Commonwealth very well. So, I really can't speak to him. I've only met the guy a couple times.
Once again, we're chatting with Brockton City Council President Robert Sullivan here on AM 1460, the new WXBR. Another topic which has come about, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the creation of a new city attorney.
Yes, a week ago Monday night, actually it was Tuesday because of the Martin Luther King holiday, and we were down there battling the snowstorm, but we got there. CFO Condon came forward. There was a proposal from the mayor's office. Originally it said it was a appropriation transfer of $20,000, so it was $20,295 from personnel to law department, personal services, other than overtime. And in essence, what it was it said that it was going to be an additional position of a part-time city solicitor, a part-time city attorney. Mr. Condon came forward, and after discussion, we realized that was a typo. That was a scrivener's error. It really should have said $35,000, and the word part-time should have been full-time. So they're looking for another full-time position in the law department, which on the books it says that they could have. The ordinance does call for that. It hasn't been that way in a long time. And the $35,000 would be through the end of the fiscal year, through June 30th. But keep in mind, a part-time attorney that's there right now would be elevated up to full-time, and then that part-time position would be filled again. So really you'd have another position and another body in the law department. And, what happened last night was Councilor Stadinsky asked that we send that back to Finance Committee at the request of Mayor Carpenter. I think that was the right thing to do because the mayor was in Washington, D.C. last week. I was the acting mayor. He was down at the mayor's conference. He wasn't there. So a lot of the questions that we had couldn't have been answered last week. So he's coming next Monday night to kind of justify that. I do know from a cost-saving standpoint, I appreciate what they're doing and what Attorney Nezzarella, the city solicitor, is attempting to do. If you can save money in-house as opposed to using the Boston firms at $400, $500, $600 an hour, I understand that, and being a lawyer, I can appreciate that. But I also, I and my colleagues are trying to get to the bottom of where's all this money coming from? Where are we coming up with these positions? The mayor himself is creating some positions that weren't in his office with previous administrations, and again, he can do that. But I think we just need to realize where is that money coming from to justify the position. And so again, next Monday night is going to be a healthy discussion where Mayor Carpenter will be there. Mr. Condon, from the CFO's perspective, will be there as well.
So what are the main topics that you guys will be discussing next Monday night?
Next Monday night, again, the school police will come in and they'll all be reappointed till 2015. And I think one of the biggest issues, again, will be that city solicitor's proposal. He'll be there. There's also a proposal to have two resolves filed. They were filed last night. There's a new owner of the Brockton Rocks, Chris English, guy from Milton, has a lot of money. He's already spending a lot of money to really create, and you know this, Peter, from being up there for many years. He's already spent about $750,000 on the field and to beautify the stadium. He's coming forward. Councilor at-large Shana Barnes wanted him to come forward to kind of put, again, a name with a face, and he'll be there next Monday night. And then Shirley Azak, the new council from Ward 7, she proposed an ordinance, a resolve to have Board of Health come forward because there's some incidents in the past here in the city of Brockton where cooking oil has been spilled. And recently it was behind the old Bat Bus terminal. And again, Shirley, to her credit from an environmental perspective, wanted to know what the procedure is to that. And then I filed a resolve, and it's going to be heard actually not next Monday. It's going to be the second Finance Committee in February. Monday's a holiday, so it will be Tuesday the 18th. The Commonwealth, the state, has these energy initiatives that can benefit residents here in the city of Brockton, and I'm having the state officials come in to explain that practice to us. Also, there's the Coalition for Social Justice, and the Green Coalition will come in as well. And I just want to see from a discussion standpoint how that can benefit the residents of the city of Brockton. So there's some hot issues coming up, Peter and Mike, and I look forward to it, and I really I enjoy the council so far in terms of who we have on there. There's a talent pool that's really unmatched right now, and we'll see. But it's early in the game, but we're going to keep fighting the good fight, as they say.
And also next Monday is when you guys will discuss at length the police commissioner chief situation, correct?
That would be Tuesday
Tuesday
during the ordinance committee at 6 o'clock again. And that, again, anybody can go to that, and it's at the city council chamber on the second floor of City Hall, 6 o'clock. And again, the councilors that sit on that, Ian Airy chairs it from Ward 3. We have Jay Stewart on it. We have Tim Cruz. We have Tom Monahan. And we also have Dennis DiNapoli. So that makes up the committee at this year.
We're chatting with Brockton City Council President Robert Sullivan here on AM 1460, the new WXBR. Outside of the big topics which we've mentioned already, anything else come about at last night's City Council meeting?
You know, again, there was a lot of issues coming up relative to appropriations, the Shannon grant. Again, they're few and far between because of the finances in the Commonwealth, nationwide as well. So, we'll have some abilities next week to talk about some of these grants that are coming in. And also, as an aside, last legislative session I filed, and it was passed, it took about a year, the Senior Citizen and the Veterans Work-Off Program, where they can volunteer time to get a price reduction on the real estate tax. It's going to be a lottery system. It's on the books now. I have spoken to Janice Fitzgerald from the Council on Aging and Dave Farrell at the Veterans Affairs and Mayor Carpenter. So if your listeners are interested in that, it is, again, on the books. There is a process and procedure that has to be played out, and I'm going to a meeting next week with Mayor Carpenter. We're going to have meetings every 2 weeks, the mayor and I, much like I did with Mayor Harrington when I was the council president, and then I can report back. But it's going to be an open discussion and dialogue. So I'm happy to say the mayor agreed to me. We're going to have a standing meeting. So there's some issues that are going to be coming up, and again, we just have to work at all times for the best interests of our community, our city, the city of champions, Brockton.
Moses Rodriguez last night at the meeting, back after a trip to Cape Verde. You mentioned Shana Barnes last night making a number of appearances throughout the meeting. The two new city councilors getting acclimated to the way things work, you think?
Well, the two new councilors at large, definitely, and also the Ward 7 councilor, Shirley Azak. Absolutely. And I said it at the inaugural. I said it here a couple of weeks ago. We're a team. We have to work together. Some of the new people have some questions, and they're going to the veterans, some of the councilors that have been there a long time, and myself as the president. But, it's a good group of people. We have some diversity without question. And we also have some differences in beliefs, and it's going to be it's going to be an interesting year. Let's just say that, because the budget cycle, of course, is going to be a telling situation. We're going to have a lot of passion at that time, and it's not too far off. I mean, if you're looking at May, or at the end of May or early June. So June, that'd be nice, huh? It wouldn't be 12 degrees out, that's for sure.
That'd be good.
11
degrees.
Yeah, absolutely, that's true. So again, I'm impressed with the people that we have there, and I did talk to Moses last night. He had a 13-day, very successful trip with St. Edith Stein over to Cape Verde. And I just, I really like being a member of the city council. I really do, and you wouldn't do it if you didn't do it for the right reasons. So I'm excited, and I'm hopeful that we can continue to move in a really positive direction. And Peter and Mike, if any of your listeners have any questions, I would be happy to give my phone number. It's 508-846-1208, 846-1208. Give me a call if you have any questions, concerns, or criticisms. And you can call me as a point person, and I can always get back to the ward councilors. Again, you have at all times, you have 4 at-larges and a ward councilor that goes to battle for you. So don't hesitate to give me a buzz. That's why we're doing it.
I know we're still early in the process, but you were the city council president when Mayor James Harrington was in office. You're now the city council president when Bill Carpenter's in office. Compare and contrast being city council president for both administrations and city council meetings for the 3 administrations which you've been under: Harrington, Balzotti, Carpenter.
Yeah, it's always it's always different when you have a different mayor at City Hall. There's different personnel, there's different attitudes and beliefs and desires and wants. Each person, Mayor Harrington, Mayor Linda Balzotti, and Mayor Bill Carpenter, they're all good people who are leading the city and have led the city, and it's really an honor, I would imagine, to be the mayor, and as it is to be on the city council. But they're all different people with different beliefs, and they surround themselves with different people as well. So it's kind of apples to oranges to compare and contrast. But I'm excited to create a channel between the council and the mayor, being the catalyst as the president. And again, when I met with Jim Harrington or even Linda Balzotti, there was always a warm welcoming within their office, and I've already felt that with Mayor Carpenter's administration and staff that he has there. So, ultimately, we are not always going to agree. Absolutely. When it comes down to appropriations and funds and spending the taxpayers' money, we're not going to agree. But, I think at the end of the day, we all need to make sure that we're doing something that's going to better the present, but more importantly, the future of the city of Brockton. So, I applaud anybody that runs for office, and public service is an honorable profession. And again, we're going to have to see how the year 2014, which is my term as the president, shapes up. But so far, it's heading in the right direction, and I look forward to it.
Any final words for our listeners this morning before we let you go?
No, again, I think if anybody has any interest, and I would expect everybody that's listening has an interest, again, Tuesday, February 3rd at 6 o'clock at City Hall on the second floor at the City Council chamber is when the ordinance committee is going to sit. I think, please come there. You're more than willing to listen or just participate. It's up to you, but it's really important, I think, to get out there and listen. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of police personnel there. There's going to be a lot of elected officials there. The mayor himself will be there. So, that's important. And then tonight, believe it or not, Tom Monahan, Ward 2 councilor, and Bill Carpenter are having a tax abatement program, 5:30 at the main library. Again, it's a Q&A type of thing, but it's really going to be helpful and beneficial to the residents. And if you have any issues on your taxes, come down there. I believe it starts at 5:30. I think it's 5:30 to 7:30 at the main library on Main Street. And again, these are just different public service events that are happening, Peter. And it's an interesting and an exciting time to be a leader in the city of Brockton. And at all times we just need to keep working forward to better Brockton.
Well, I know you've got a few children you need to get off to school, so I thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us this morning, and we look forward to seeing you again in February.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
That is Brockton City Council President Robert Sullivan joining us here on AM 1460, the new WXBR. We'll step aside for a look at local weather and traffic. Stick with us.